Stop giving up 5 minutes before the miracle. Stop it. Just stop it. Because you're not failing because you lack ability. You're probably, and this is just an assumption, maybe it's an observation, but you're probably stopping because something inside of you is interpreting this growth and expansion as unsafe. Resilience, contrary to popular belief, is not hand jamming, grinding, and hustling more. It's not toughness. It's really trained safety, because when your nervous system feels safe enough to continue, you continue. Now, I have a question for you. Have you ever noticed that right when things are starting to work, right when that momentum starts building, right when you're closest to your breakthrough, something happens? Life be lifing, right? You get tired, you procrastinate, you get unexpected news, you start questioning everything. You suddenly need to reorganize your whole life or strategize or plan or prepare. You convince yourself that the timing is not right. Excuse me. You start something new instead of finishing what was already working. Or you just have all the energy in the world to clean your house or fold your clothes or do the laundry or do the thing you've been avoiding. And it really does feel logical in the moment. But then later you realize, "Ah, I was closer than I thought." Now, I don't know if y'all remember playing video games in the 80s, 90s. If you're old enough for that, hopefully you are. But you did not have unlimited respawn points, unlimited saves, unlimited lives. You had 3 lives, 1 continue, and you had to learn to recognize patterns. You had to learn to understand the puzzles and the sequences in which you did things and the right timing to jump and to attack the enemy. And if you messed up and you were on level 8 out of 10, you had to start all over. And so you would be frustrated. Man, I give up. I'm so frustrated. I'm so, and you go to sleep, and what happens? You have a dream about it, right? In that dream, you get the exact thing that you need, the exact unlock. You have a dream about it. Sometimes you jump out of your bed and go play it if your parents let you, or if you were sneaky enough to get away with it. And you apply what you learned in your dream and you got it, right? So you were right there, but you had to stop. You had to walk away to process. And that's where people are getting confused. They're giving up 5 minutes before the miracle. They're not taking a 5 minute pause to breathe, to reassess, to hit it from a different angle, to ask a mentor for help, or ask a question to someone that's been there. They're just giving up. So most people are assuming if I were disciplined enough, I would just follow through. But what if quitting or giving up has nothing to do with discipline? What if this quitting or giving up right before the breakthrough is more about safety? How would that change things for you? So, in this PDF, the last PDF of this series, and guys, I really got to get better about like opening things and preparing them before. Anyway, so the resilience reset is what it's called, the greater resilience reset. And what it is a PDF I've created based on the last R in the greater framework, which is resilience in the face of setbacks, to stop quitting before the breakthrough, identify the pattern, and break the cycle. And that's exactly what you're going to get in this video. So one of the most important ideas in this framework is this: sabotage is a survival mechanism, not a character flaw. I'll say that again. Sabotage is a survival mechanism. There's nothing wrong with who you are. You're not broken. Your nervous system is always asking you, is this safe? Not, is this good for my long-term future? Does this meet my KPIs? And my doesn't care about that. It doesn't care. It doesn't matter to your nervous system. We are primal beings who are primed for survival. And so we want to know, are we going to get eaten by a saber-toothed tiger when we go out and hunt for our food? And unfortunately, with all of these advancements, even though we've advanced so much in the last 3 to 400 years, there's still so much more time behind us of programming for us to be in nature and do things naturally. All of this sitting behind cameras and sitting at screens and working on our phones and sitting at a desk, this isn't normal. This is not normal. And so every new thing we do feels like an immediate threat. My goodness. Give me a second to take a drink of water because I just, okay, much better. So, growth, that we are always striving for growth and contribution, but growth often includes being visible, receiving judgment, dealing with uncertainty, facing responsibility, and handling pressure. And if any of those were painful in your past, your brain might just be associating that expansion with danger, stranger danger. So when right when things start improving, your system is trying to protect you. There's a trigger. That trigger triggers a memory. That memory overloads your system, which leads to avoidance. And then you feel ashamed because you ran away or you avoided it. And there's that loop. I'm guilty because I didn't do the thing I knew I should have done. Don't shit on yourself. I'm ashamed because I'm just a horrible person that procrastinates, or I have ADHD or autism and I just can't, or I'm just not that kind of person. I can't do that. That's one thought. That's one belief. But I don't believe you're weak. I believe you're human. And you should too. Now, there's a psychological principle called loss aversion. Research by Kahneman and Tversky showed that humans experience loss at about 2 times more the intensity than they experience gain. What that means is your brain would rather avoid a perceived loss rather than pursue a possible gain. And let me say this. Everything that we're doing is for 2 reasons. It's either we're doing it for fear or we're doing it for love. And if it's fear, it's usually fear of not getting something you want or losing something you think you own. If it's love, it's service, it's gratitude, and it moves us forward. So love will move us forward, fear will hold us back. It's that simple. It's so simple, it hurts. Now, about avoiding perceived loss rather than pursuing possible gain, even if the gain is objectively better, your nervous system prefers familiar discomfort. They say comfort zone. You are not comfortable in your comfort zone. You are not comfortable in your comfort zone, and you know it. You feel it every day. Everything is hard, but you've got to pick your hard. It's hard to work out, but it's also hard to lose muscle and not be able to do things that you need to do. Play with your grandchildren, play with your children, go out and just run up your stairs to go to work. Like, most people have to take the elevator. That's another topic for another day. But the reason that your nervous system prefers that familiar discomfort over unfamiliar possibility is because familiar pain feels predictable and predictability feels safe. Now, we are incredibly adaptive creatures. We love when we know what's going to happen, so much so that when I am doing something repeatedly, like brushing my teeth, my brain's going to say, oh, we seem to be doing this a lot. Let me automate it so you don't have to think about it, right? Have you ever gotten your car, sober or not, and just arrived home and thought, I don't remember the drive there? That's because your brain has automated driving for you. And there are so many other things like that in our life, like our demeanor, how we respond to people, our emotional responses, like all of those are habit formation. And If it's good, it's a good habit formation. It's a habit that's forming your character and your destiny. If it's bad, like addiction, that's maladaptive habit formation. It's just the other side of the same pendulum swinging. So during the early days of space exploration, which is relevant with us just going to the moon again, but NASA found that astronauts didn't struggle the most during launch. They struggled during reentry. Why is that? Because reentry is chaotic, right? At least when you're going up, you just have to break through the atmosphere and then you're in orbit. Cool. But coming back, there's friction, there's heat, there's uncertainty. Like, are we going to burst into flames? Are we going to make it? Are we going to miss? Like, there's so many questions. And then there's intensity, right? Because, like, am I going to land in the right place? Will we, you know, the 1 in a million chance we could land in a volcano, right? Like, there's so many questions, but the chaos was evidence that they were returning home safely. So, yes, there's a lot of factors, a lot of things that could go wrong, but it's that sign on the way to them getting back to home and not being out where there's no trees or grass. I don't know. I couldn't go to space. I worked for Space Force and I thought we were going to get to go to space. I was very disappointed we didn't get to go. Um, it was actually really boring. And I imagine that's what it's like in space too. But sometimes the turbulence means that there's a transition. You're not failing, you're not falling behind, you're not broken. You're just transitioning and transitions are great, right? I can guarantee one thing to you and give you a guarantee, it's that change is the only thing that is consistent. And Brad said earlier, it's true though. Listen, I don't try to spit anything but the truth. No, but thank you. So there's transitions all the time. We're transitioning from work to home, from home to work. We're transitioning from bed to bathroom. We're transitioning from, you know, 30s to 40s, 20s to 30s, 40s to 50s. There's um transitions are everywhere and we got to start embracing them. Think about the last 3 times that and what I'm doing right now is let's identify because this is in the PDF. And if you want that PDF, just reach out. But we're going to identify that sabotage pattern because sometimes awareness is all you need to stop something. Just being aware that you're doing it or that there's another way is enough. So I want you to think about the last 3 times that you were close to progress and something interrupted the momentum. What was that like? Were you, 100 calls in and kept getting no's? What if the 101st call would have been your sale? Were you, I don't know. I got no more examples. But sales seems to be the thing that most people struggle with because there's a lot of rejection. There's a lot of what if. There's a lot of am I going to get this right? A lot of uncertainty, a lot of friction. Whew. Sales are not like a lot of people hate sales, but the world would not be revolving the way it is. We wouldn't have a lot of the things we have if people weren't selling something. Tiffany said, yes, sales. Listen, uh, yes, sales. I can coach someone else on how to sell, but don't, and I can stand by you while you sell, but don't ask me to sell because, like, no. What interrupted the moment? What triggered it? Or what interrupted your momentum right before you were close to that progress? What triggered it? What story did you tell yourself? Because this is the most important part. You're telling yourself a story all the time. And whether you're telling the truth or not, you made it up. Whatever story you're telling, you are making it up and you have the right. I'm giving you permission to tell the story that you want, the outcome that you want, the whole, like, imagine the whole thing the way you want. Tell that story and believe it and then go for it, right? So, ooh, I like this. Man, The timing of this is so needed dealing with everything you're mentioning currently. I'm glad I'm here at this moment, at a time like this, for you to help you through this. So, more questions for you. What did you avoid doing next? Right? Because there's a lot of avoidance when it comes to facing something that's unknown. And that avoidance, again, is keeping you safe. The audit asks, what happened right before you stopped? If you can just identify what's happening right before you stop, that awareness is enough to break the unconscious cycle, to bring it, to surface it, right? Because it's automated it for you. But if you can surface it back from your subconscious to your conscious brain, that's what mindfulness is about. When they say stop and take 3 deep breaths, right? I was in anger management for most of my 20s, teens and 20s. I went through 9 anger management classes. My sister got me a shirt that said, "My anger management class pisses me off." And it was so funny because it was true. I had to keep going back through it because I hadn't learned the lesson. When they say stop and take 10 deep breaths, because that's what's required for anger, um, 3 deep breaths is like, I'm about to make a sales call. Anger, I'm about to make a decision that could change the trajectory of mine and other people's lives. Stop and take 10 deep breaths. In that moment, you're giving yourself an opportunity to, rather than react and make the best speech you'll ever regret, you can respond, you can listen, you can think. That's the hardest work that most people never do, is thinking. Think for a minute. How am I going to respond? What am I going to say? Is this going to be true, helpful, inspiring, necessary, kind, and better than silence? And what I did there is an acronym. Think. Is it, before you speak, is it true? Is it helpful? Is it inspiring? Is it necessary? Is it kind? And is it better than silence? The B is silent. um, you cannot interrupt a pattern that you can't see. It's just, that's it. But I don't want to just preach at you. I don't want to just tell you what is wrong and that, you know, what to do. I want to give you a practical tool. And this tool has been helping me lately and I love it. And someone gave it to me and I can't remember who, whether it was a reel I watched or what, doesn't matter. It works. So this is called the 2-minute rule. Mel Robbins has the 5-second rule or whatever it is, the 5-second habit. My daughter had to remind me that I was doing that with her when she was younger. Cause all of us are ADHD. And I would tell her to count backwards from 3 and just go. And I think I actually got that from the movies. What was that movie with Will Smith and that other guy? Um, Not Switch. It was the one where he like Will Smith was the dating coach and he told him just 3, 2, 1, go. And I was like, ooh, that's good. I'm going to try that. And I tried it and it worked. But when you count up, there's always another number. But when you count down, right? Like when you're launching off a rocket, there's no more numbers. Now we got to go, right? So there's psychology behind counting backwards. But with the 2-minute rule, what I love about this one is typically we are catastrophizing something that is minuscule. We are making mountains out of molehills. We are looking at the entire picture or the entire elephant and we're like, I don't know how I'm ever going to eat this elephant. Back when I used to, like when I first moved out of my parents' house, I looked at the rent, which was only $550 at the time. God, I miss those days. And I was like, there's no way I'm ever going to make that money. I didn't think that I could break it up and pay it or save for it. I thought I never got a check that big, so I can't pay my rent. And we got kicked out of multiple places for that thinking. But then I thought, I don't want to keep getting kicked out of places and moving back in with parents or moving in with friends. I've got to figure out a way to do this. And after my divorce and living with my mom for a while, I started tracking all of my income. And then I'm going to get to the 2-minute rule. Stay with me. Then by tracking it, I saw, man, I make a lot of money as a waiter. Where's it all going? And so I would create envelopes for each of my bills. There's water, there's gas, there's rent, there's all these. And I would keep track of how much I needed to make, and then I'd break it into 4, and I knew how much I needed to make for the week. And so knowing your number, knowing your goal, knowing where you're going, and then reverse engineering from there, what do you need to do to get there? So I would split up that 550 into 4, and I never didn't pay my bills after that. Like, it was always, there was a system. I had a system, and we don't rise to the level of our goals. We fall to the level of our systems. So the 2-minute rule, I'll give that to you. Most people are trying to build resilience through pressure. They're like, let me just, keep forcing myself to do the thing. And what you're doing is you're making your body feel unsafe, like you're unsafe in your own body. But pressure increases resistance. I want you to think about that for a minute. The harder you're pushing, the more it's going to resist. Think about, like, in dating. If you are chasing someone, they are running from you, period. Now, this framework suggests something much simpler. I want you to shrink the task so small that you can just do something for 2 minutes. Doesn't matter. Um, Open the Google Doc, dial the number, start the water on the shower, guys. It's the simple things sometimes, because inertia, contrary to popular belief, is not you being lazy. It's just the opposite of momentum. And inertia is protection. So once motion begins, that's when the fear decreases. A lot of people are thinking that, I have to feel confident before I move. But I'm here to tell you that you're only going to feel confidence when you move and your body says, oh, we're doing this now. This is who we are. We're identifying with this motion and what we're doing. And so now that's going to build confidence, because you've proven to yourself that you can confide in yourself to do the thing, right? And that fear is going to go on. Fear is going to go down. Confidence is going to go up. And it's going to give you evidence that you can keep doing it. So there's this thing I made a long time ago. It's the B-par theory of momentum. So it goes both ways. If I don't believe in my potential, I will not take an action which will confirm a result that I shouldn't believe in my potential to take an action, because, see, last time I didn't take action. So this is just who I am. And you just start rolling backwards because you're confirming a belief, right? Because it always starts with the belief that you can't do it. But if we take that on the other side of the spectrum and we believe in our potential, we will take action, and that will give us results that further reinforce that belief that we have potential to take another action. And so now we're chugga this way instead of chugga that way. Okay. So evidence is going to come from those small completed actions. So what is the smallest thing that you can do in 2 minutes on something you've been avoiding, something you've been running from, right? Maybe it's not apply for the job. Maybe it's just read the application through, or read the job description and see, what do they want? Do they know what they want? I don't know. I want you to share with me now in the chat, like, what is something that you have been avoiding that could at least be started in 2 minutes? Is it sending an email? Is it opening the document, to write your book, that bestseller that's in you that you're still waiting to write? That one sentence, just one sentence, just one sentence. Is it taking the walk? Is it going to the gym, right? And just go in the parking lot. You hang around in the barbershop long enough, you'll probably get a haircut. I think that applies in the gym too. If you hang around in the gym long enough, eventually you'll pick up a weight. Make one call, one sales call, and listen. What are their problems? Can you position yourself as the solution to those problems? Can you uncover the value for them so that they realize that you can help them. I mean, it's really simple. And I'm talking to myself too. So don't think I'm preaching at you. I get on here every week for me, and you're just a part of the conversation. Now, before building that resilience, recognize the resilience that you already have. You already have a track record by breathing in and breathing out that you have 100% success rate with every other challenge you've been through because you're here. You're here watching me. If you're not watching me live or on the replay, you're here on this earth. You've succeeded somewhere. So I want you to list 5 times, just 5 times in your life where you kept going when quitting would have been easier. Because this is going to give you that evidence that you're not starting from zero. You are continuing a pattern of persistence, whether that's persistence backwards, not believing in your potential, not taking action and getting results to confirm that, or, because you're here and you're successful and you've succeeded at other things, they've just become your new normal. You're believing in your potential to take an action, which will confirm that result that you can believe that you have the potential to take another action, which will create that positive feedback. That's what we want, that positive feedback loop. So don't forget your own evidence. You already have it in you. I hope this has been helpful for you. It's really all I have, unless anyone has any questions or wants to share a moment, that stuck out. Is that a word? Stuck out? Wants to share a moment that stuck out to him about this. And I want to wrap this series because this is video 7 in a series on the greater framework, which is, over the series, we talked about grounding, like being grounded in your unique story and making your pain pay you. We talked about reframing limiting beliefs so that we can move forward in that BPAR theory of momentum I just mentioned, embracing discomfort and turning every thing that happens to us into something that's happening for us by learning. Everything is a lesson. You don't fail. You either win or you learn. And either way, you're still learning, right? You're either learning what to do or learning what to do better. But either way, you got to do something. We talked about aligned action, not just taking action for the sake of taking action, but taking action aligned with that grounding. Navigating transitions. We're all transitioning at all times. Building confidence through empowering your network. And now we're talking about developing resilience. So that's the framework. That is what's in the book, From Waiter to Greater. If you don't have a copy, you can go get that on Amazon. I'll post the link down in the description somewhere, or put it in the description or in the chat. I think it's on my, if you're on LinkedIn, it's in my, actually on all my socials, it's on my bio, but From Waiter to Greater by Gregory Rutledge on Amazon. Grab you a copy. I didn't just write a book about my story. I gave you practical steps to do what I know that worked for me and people like me. So if you're ADHD, dyslexic, you had a hard childhood, people told you were too much or not enough, or both, and I don't know how you can be both, but if I was able to achieve what I could achieve, and I'm going to achieve more than that in the days coming, then if my silly ass can do it, you definitely can. So the greater framework is not just about becoming someone new. It's more about removing what was never you, the lie identity, the identity that other people placed on you through lies that you just accepted blindly and never questioned, or the my identity that you built to combat that, and prove to other people that you are not what they said you are. No, but your true identity, because you don't need more information, knowledge that goes into your formation. What you need is more inspiration, something from the inside, from your spirit, what was already placed in you to come out, and some structure for implementation. We avoid structure so much, or let me speak for myself. I avoid structure because it's boring and it's limiting, but Dr. Seuss wasn't able to write any of his books without the constraint of 50 words or less. That's why there's so many repeating words. There was a constraint of 50 words or less. And sometimes constraints are what allow creativity to flow. Because have you ever had that blank page syndrome where you open up a doc or you open up your notebook and nothing comes to mind, or you open up a slide deck or you open up a spreadsheet? It's just a blank canvas. So you need some kind of structure, some kind of constraint. And I hope this series was valuable to you. Please share it with someone if this resonated with you. If you haven't seen the other 6 videos, they are under the live tab on my YouTube. Facebook is deleting lives now. I don't know how LinkedIn works to find it, but I know on my YouTube at Question Everything Design, you can find all of the videos that I'm talking about, and they're only going to get better from here. Now, my wife mentioned join the Greater University and School. We do it every Wednesday evening at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. Reach out for me for info. Yeah, I can help with your businesses, your revenue, your client experience, your website or funnel auditing. I can help you to communicate better so that your people who are going to work with you have a better experience with you and want to work with you or do business with you. If you're a career professional, I can help you to talk to interviewers, whether it's the recruiter or the hiring manager, in a way that they enjoy the experience they had with you, they remember you, and you come to mind when it's time for them to hire. But inside Greater University, we practice this work together because that's how life is supposed to be, with real conversations with real people, real reflection, and real action. I don't like to just teach and talk at people. I want you to take action, because action cures anxiety. Action absorbs anxiety, and then action cures anxiety. You're not going to know whether something's going to work or not until you move. So you've got to move. We're not going to teach theory that you'll just forget next week. I don't like overloading people with things that they're never going to use, right? We want small shifts that compound for you. And, resilience is not built in these big heroic moments. It's built in those small decisions to continue. So even when your motivation fluctuates, even when you don't have perfect clarity on what to do next, even when the results take time, you can keep on moving and don't stop. I don't think that you need to become more capable. I think you're already more capable than you realize. You just need to stop abandoning yourself. Stop abandoning yourself when things start working. And I want to leave you with a question today. What if the reason it hasn't worked yet is because every time it was about to, you disappeared? Doug said facts. And on that, if I could drop this mic, I would. But I want you to be bold and courageous. Do everything that you do with passion. And I promise you will have a life that you love. If you want to join, I will see you at the Greater University on Wednesday at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. The link is in the description. It is a free group to come and taste it. It costs to do the hot seat coaching. That is $1.56 a day, which is cheaper than your Starbucks coffee every day, $47 a month. And if you want me to work with you personally, we can talk about that. But until the next video, where we'll be going live with someone, I don't know who yet. I'll let you know soon. Because I'm tired of talking to myself in a room, in a camera. I want interaction. I want to talk to people. So next Monday, we'll be talking to someone. And it's going to be very valuable. And it's going to be based on this greater framework. So I'm going to leave you. Be bold and courageous. Do everything that you do with passion. I promise you'll have a life that you love. We will see you on Wednesday. And if not, see you Monday at 3 p.m. Central Standard Time. Same bat channel, same bat time. And we're done. Ooh. I'm going to set this outro video again because I like it. Bye, guys.